So I'm hoping you can hear me good. I think we're ready to go. I think we're ready to make it make sense. We're right here. Yeah, so I think we're going to be okay. I think some better lighting, maybe, but that's okay. It's all right. We're going to be good. Yeah, it's all right. That's what we're going to do. Make it make sense. So let's see if we can get this going. One, two, 1, 2. Okay, I got microphone action going. I think I might can get it a little bit closer to my right there. And I think we got. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me real good. I don't want to have to turn it up too much more, but I can. So listen, we're going to dig right in. We're going to dig right in. We're going to get right into it. To Make It Make Sense podcast. And of course, this is how we do it. We're going to get right into it. You don't like how I get down? Post your comments. Let me know. Not that I'm going to really care. But nonetheless, I strive to be here for the people. And that's what we're going to do. Now, that being said, we're going to get right into it. I don't know if you watched the presidential debate or not, but I watched the presidential debate. And I'm just telling you that we're in trouble. We are in trouble if we allow the extreme liberals and the extreme conservatives to muddy up the waters. Listen what I'm saying. We cannot afford at all for the extremists to muddy up the waters. You ask, what do I mean by that? This debate is going to give each side the opportunity to become more and more extreme. This is what's going to happen. They are going to become more and more extreme now because the uber liberals have to now save face because they look foolish. And now the conservatives, they smell blood. So now we are in a situation where we have an election coming up. And honestly, we lose either way. We lose either way. This is a fact. There's no way. Listen, First of all, I want to say welcome to the Mims podcast. You know what? I forgot to do my whole intro cliche thing. Yeah, welcome to the Mims podcast. Hi, this is Larry Hidden with the Mims podcast. Phooey, all that. I am just going to let you hear for yourself. You feel me? I want you to hear for yourself. For those who didn't watch the debate, take the opportunity, go search the debate, look it up. It's beautiful being footage, baby. Now, what I want you to remember as you listen to these things, and the only reason why I'm playing it through this right now is because it's an upstart. I got all my equipment that I need. I just didn't hook it up right now. You know why? Because I was eager to get going. But don't you fear. The next go round, we're going to listen. It's going to be patched in. It's no big problem, but you can hear what I'm doing. As you listening to this, I want you to remember this is the current president debating the former president. One of them is a felon. The other one's son is a felon and a crackhead. So I want to preface it with this first. So, Black community, understand, we've seen these type of conversations before between the two felons. One is an alcoholic probably, and the other one is a father of a crackhead. So he's probably, let me watch my mouth what I say.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on, and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. If the candidate interrupts when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing.
The moderator asks the question. After 2 minutes, they shut the mic off.
Props or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate.
No notes, no contact with campaign staff. So this is mano y mano.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
As I'm watching by and walk out right now, this is our leader.
And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
And as I watch the challenger come out, this is the felon. This is going to be good.
Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%.
$300.
What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out the position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from a household where the kitchen table, things weren't able to be met during the month. It was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you had to take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200.
I hope you can see Trump's face.
All the drugs they conclude beginning next year.
Looks like a felon.
The situation is we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you, President Trump.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates. That was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, to bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he's the greatest economy in the world. And, the fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant, and the military, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that.
Now, see, if you didn't pay attention, you would think that Biden is talking about real world jobs. And this is where I realized that we was in big trouble. From question number one, Biden, what number jobs did he say he created? Okay. I think that the uber liberals think black people is stupid. At this point, I think they think we stupid. They must. Because they say things and they must assume that we don't understand. You didn't create 2 million jobs for any Americans. Well, where? You plan on... I,
When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China, it's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing. And they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the